You're listening to the #1 live call-in podcast for real estate agents and professionals all around the world. World-class guests, breaking news, and you with your hosts, Johnny Awesome and Jimmy Fantastic. You are on Free for All Friday.
Listen, Jimmy. Listen. A vessel for my creator, a deposit of positive energy, a secret of greatness with it all. My kids know me as daddy. $6,000 to get to the Philippines, Jimmy. And let it be known on this.
You sound great, my man.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
It's nice having my voice back.
And you didn't cough in the middle of it?
Not yet.
Not yet. I mean, I know it's there.
I know it's coming. There we go. Jimmy has set this beautiful scene up for us. It currently looks like we're having a candlelight dinner together.
We could, order some hors d'oeuvres, drinks.
I guess we could. It would be great when that would be a fun show doing live from a restaurant.
We should do that live from a restaurant.
As we start,
any restaurant out there.
As we start to eat.
Yes. Any restaurant out there. It's just like when the waiter comes by and goes, "How's your meal?" And you just put a fork full of food in your mouth.
Oh yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
That's everybody's favorite thing. 313-644 for all the number that you can reach out to us today. Of course, you can participate with us in Facebook as well. And
the Breakfast Club was in there with us this morning too.
And the Breakfast Club you're in, you can hit **. Jimmy is manning the board. I'm sure we're going to have some comments today for sure. Good morning to you as well. I'm glad that you're scheduling that appointment. Jeffrey, I'm glad to hear that. For those of you that are joining us on the podcast, we are also live, which is why we're responding to comments. So if you are somebody that only listens to the podcast, if you get the opportunity to, please do check us out live. You get the chance to see all the shenanigans that are going on. Are we just going to leave these lights blinking this entire time?
Why not?
It's funny because you know how people used to say the other lights would bother them. This is for ADD dude. This one gets me. It's
I finally like I figure I thought this would be like more calming thing for you. Like
yeah.
Like did you ever see the movie The Accountant?
Maybe. I don't know that.
He's autistic, but he's an accountant.
Okay.
But like he has to take this moment where he just jams really loud music and flashing lights. And
yeah.
Just
that's real.
It like calms him down.
Like, so that's a real thing, In fact,
that's why I was trying to calm you down.
But listen, that same accountant, okay, when he walks into the grocery store and there's that one light that just flickers,
he just stares at it.
He can't remember which cereal he was trying to get,
right? Because
that light just keeps going off, and that's what that light over there reminds me of. Like it's just right in my view, and it's not even on a pattern. It's just blink, 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 blink.
That's the pattern.
It's bad. I forgot which cereal I was going to get, Jimmy. I had a point to make. I was going to bring all that back around to real estate, believe it or not.
Well, I mean, here we are, ADD.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting about that? You brought that up with the music and lights, and what's interesting is, I remember when I was a internet manager at a car dealership, and I had to do this mundane work, you had to go through, and it was the stuff that you do as a realtor. You have to go through the list, you have to call through it, and that was the first time that I realized that if I stuck a DJ light in there that blinked, and I stuck it right by my face, right, and it would blink and stuff like that, I could make it through that, and it wasn't hard. The other thing is it was more time consuming because there was a lot of data I had to put in and check other people's notes and make sure, so it was a lot of data entry, one of those types of things.
Yeah.
So when you can't focus very well, you find other ways, one of the 5 ways to procrastinate, right? If you can't focus very well. So what I found was if I put that light in my office, all of a sudden I could focus, and I did the same thing, right? And it was funny. I used to have a shop manager that used to come by, and he thought it was the funniest thing that I would sit there. And he was a high, very high D personality. Didn't understand me at all, but for some odd reason was really drawn because he was like, fun. What is this fun thing? This guy seems to be having it, And he'd be over.
Who has fun here?
He'd just be like, I don't understand this fun thing that's happening. But he would always come by, and he would always make fun of this light that I'd have on, but he always thought it was commendable that I found a way to make work happen. He just couldn't believe that was it, right?
Right.
So when I left there, I gave him that lamp, that light,
Okay.
when I left. So I'm not sure what he ever did with it, but
He's
it's
probably still staring at it. Probably never moved.
I'd still, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
He's still, it's just beard.
You might have opened a whole new world to the guy, though. He's
Wow.
probably a DJ
This
now.
entire time. That was all I needed.
Yeah.
F is for friends that'll always be together.
Yeah, he's probably a DJ now.
It's so good to have my voice back.
It's actually the Dead Mouse guy. That's who it is.
Oh, that's no, a Marshmallow. Because Marshmallow's newer. Yeah. So anyway, the point of that is to wrap that all up. And this is actually something that I was talking to an agent about this week. And that is making environments where you set yourself up for success the most.
Yes.
See, go ahead.
It's super important. No, I mean, that's super important, right? Like the setting, because it goes back to everything we talk about all the time. What CRM works? The one you actually use, right? Which dialer works? The one you're actually going to dial out of. Which thing is this? Whatever. Like setting up yourself, now setting yourself up for success is super important. Like where are you comfortable? When I dial, I'm a pacer. You know what I mean? Like I like to walk when I talk. You know what I mean? Like I can't. It's when I'm dialing, I can't just sit there and dial. I have a basketball in my hand or a baseball bat in my hand, and I walk, and it just helps me think. Did you ever see A Few Good Men? Tom Cruise. You can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
But no, he had a bat in his hand.
Is that the one where he's dancing in his underwear?
No, that's I can't remember that one. But anyway,
okay.
No, this is one with Jack Nicholson where they put him on trial.
Yes.
But no, he had a bat in his hand, and they're like, "Well, do you have a bat in your hand?" He was going over what he's an attorney, and he was going over what he was going to do the next day, and he's like, "It helps me think."
Oh,
like just holding on to that and like doing motions with it, and it was just like he's like, it helped me think. He walked with it and had it in his hand, and I do the same thing. Like I have a baseball bat in my hand or a basketball in my hand or something, and I walk and talk. It helps me think.
The baseball bat one makes me nervous. I just walk around, bat in one hand, gun the other.
Negan, right? Like
cocking it, uncocking it helps me think.
I wrap barbed wire around the end of it.
What is happening? But it is. It's the other thing, and a lot of people don't realize this, and I've mentioned this before on the show. Like people get stuck in this mundane, and they think that they can't alter. How do I put this? Because sometimes you have to be careful. You have to know yourself. But they feel like, oh, the only place in the world that I can make calls is sitting in this little tiny space next to other people. They don't realize that, like, if you're diligent and you find a better place. I've told this before, but the best expired that I ever got in my life wasn't just because I called them and I nailed the appointment. It's because I did it. My feet were in the sand. I used to drive down to Pontiac State Park, and I'd put my feet in the sand, and I would just sit there and soak up the sun, and I'd make calls from the Mojo app.
Yeah, it was you that used to dial from the monkey place.
I used to dial from the monkey. Yeah, it was me. Yeah, that was fun. At the zoo, I used to live in Royal Oak, and a zoo year-long passes was nothing. And I used to go and sit down where there was the most comfortable chair. See, it's funny. This is real. The most comfortable chair was over where there was one exhibit that had like a moose, a hawk, and like a sheep. Like they're like, where are we gonna stick the rest of the gray animals? We'll just put them in this one pen together. They'll be all right. And so it's just this one pen that's random when you first walk in on the right hand side. And those chairs, for whatever reason, they kind of reclined a little bit. The most comfortable to sit in when you're making calls. That was the most comfortable spot that I found. And because it's like a weird spot, nobody ever really came up and bothered you there too much. With the monkeys, people were always coming by to see the monkeys, but the monkeys were the funniest.
Did they ever throw poop at you?
They no. But I was on the phone with this guy, and it's so funny when the monkeys will move around, and sometimes their lips match the conversation that you're having. And this guy, he was not, he wasn't having it that day, and I was trying my script on him. And this is calling Fizbos and expired, so I'm not sure which list is probably on expireds. But I'll never forget, the guy was super serious and mean, and then the monkeys started picking his butt. And then, as the guy's talking to me, and I'm just laughing. I laughed so hard, and it made that guy so mad. And I forget what he said. I I actually had to hang up on that one because I think the guy was trying to tell me how serious he was about this other guy taking it back. I don't know. And I'm laughing at him, but not at him.
Right,
I'm laughing
not
at
at him,
the monkey version of him. So yeah, it's you can find any environment. You can bring those environments indoors too. If you are one of those people that need the accountability of people surrounding you, that's fine too.
Yeah.
Bullpens exist for a reason, but you can still do things on those days where you either reward yourself a little bit for moving further just by a little, or stuff like we used to teach environments that only you only did during the things that you just didn't like to do. So for instance, if you have your favorite candle, right? Like, oh, I love Seabreeze candle or whatever. Cool. Well, during your call time or whatever time you find something difficult to do, in order to look forward to it, that's when you get to lower the lights and you get to light your candle, right?
Yeah.
And I have known people to put sandboxes under their desk.
Yeah.
For real. Like they make those.
Yeah, there's the treadmill that goes under your desk.
Yeah,
Like,
or a treadmill.
It's the work treadmill.
Yeah, the work treadmill. Yeah. So you could do these little things to help improve your environments to make it so that it's not only easier for you to accomplish what you're accomplishing, but almost give you a little a treat for doing what it is that you're supposed to do in the first place.
Yeah.
So for me, there's somewhere out there, there's a video of me in full blown. I should see if I should find it. If I can, I'll post it on the Facebook page. But my old desk in my old office from the last team that I came from, it was a raising desk like ours, and you've seen I've had lights in here. I had that whole place lit up, and I mean I had underglow lights under the desk, and the desk would raise up, and it looked like a DJ station in there. And here I am making phone calls, and I've got agents in there doing it with me, right?
Yeah.
And it looked like a rave was going on. I mean, the music was blasting. And it helps. It's what we do. If that's my fun time, why not make calls during that time?
Right. Well, and that's the thing too. That's when you start to hit your stride a little bit too. Typically, right? That's when you start to get the more yeses because you're more comfortable doing it. Like you're having a little fun with it.
Yep.
It's just like when we talked about like unconventional scripts or sliding words in, right? Like we always used to play word bingo, right? Just you have a bingo card with different words on it. If you could put that word in somewhere, then you could check off that box, and we give out prizes at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So like there's all kinds of stuff to do to improve the dialing and the making some fun out of it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know that's where we weren't going this morning, but
yeah, it takes some creativity, but what it really takes is some thought. And at the end of the day, I was having a conversation with another team yesterday, and really what it takes is it takes your excuses away.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, if you need to hack something or trick yourself to do something in order to do it, that's okay. What's not okay is to constantly make the excuse of, the area is not, it's comfortable enough. Or this, that, or the other thing. Or I don't like talking around people. So then you shut yourself in a room and, well, now I don't know what to say. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like Ron said, and I just throw it up there. It doesn't really matter where you make them, just making them, right?
Right. Well, I find it funny too, because I used there was a lot of times where people would be like, well, it's loud and I need it to be quiet when I'm calling and all this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, I worked at pretty big companies.
Yeah.
That had just like
what's the biggest company?
Quicken.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So like 10,000 people, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but like, so you would have 300 bankers on a floor.
Yeah.
That's completely open.
Yeah.
And everybody's on a dialer.
Okay, hold on. You say this is funny. Jimmy says this. I came into his office yesterday because there was an event out near here. Jimmy, this is I came out here. There's an event around the corner, and then I had to take a call. Randy had me set up with the agent that scheduled themselves time. And so I come back here to take it, and I said, hey, Jimmy, it's not going to bother you if I do this coaching call in here. And he goes, no. So I start coaching this girl, and within like 3 minutes, you just pack everything up and walk into the other room.
Oh, no, it's because I had to put it on the other monitor.
Oh, okay.
That was
Okay.
Yeah, that was all.
Got it.
No, I had to put a Zoom on the other monitor. We couldn't both Zoom in the same room. Zoom's different than a dialer.
Yeah, well, kind of.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, well, especially with what we do. Like when you're coaching and training people over a Zoom, if I'm yelling and you're yelling,
we're both yelling.
Then people are like, "What?
How do you make your phone calls?
And the other thing is, the person you had on the Zoom,
Yeah.
her freaking fire alarm kept beeping, dude.
It's true. I was
And if that fire alarm was gonna beep one more time, I was gonna fly to where she was and knock that thing off the wall with my bat. With my bat, I was gonna go knock that thing off the wall.
It was bad. Yeah, that was a good. That was.
Then she was talking about how much. Sorry, guys, but then she was talking about how much money she made, and I'm like, well, could you buy some batteries for the fire detector, right? Like for the fire alarm, could you buy some batteries and change it in there, please?
Well, hey, that's how That's how maybe she keeps the money. Just
well, I thought maybe that's what her next goal was. If she actually sold the house, she could buy the batteries to replace
her fire alarm.
Fire alarm,
or just do what the rest of us do and just
take it off the wall.
Yeah, I haven't had a fire alarm in 5 years.
Oh, you have 2 doves and a dog. You're fine.
Yeah, right.
One of them will wake you up.
Somebody's gonna wake me up. Yeah. And if the neighbors don't know that my house is on fire when they see the smoke and the fire, I don't know what to tell you about my neighbors.
Right.
So anyway, way off track there.
Yes.
The point is again, when you guys are setting these goals and you're uncomfortable, you can make your environment comfortable. Don't think that you have to set yourself up and get all like you can actually do things to make yourself comfortable and actually make yourself have a little bit of fun. You just have to figure out how to hack it. And you really got to, at the end of the day, be willing to do it.
Yeah. And again, like the fix for if you feel like the room is too loud, or if there's too many people, like the fix that you and I could have had yesterday was we didn't either one have headsets on.
Yep.
So that's the other quick fix is you just throw a headset on and you run with it.
Yeah.
Which we work together next to each other a lot, and when we throw headsets on and do it, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like I need a headset to hear you anymore.
Yeah.
I don't get the fullness of your voice unless we have a headset on. Just want to throw this out there again, guys, because we got some stuff to talk about today.
Yeah.
Phone number 313-644-4 all. You can feel free to call in, get your opinions and stuff like that ready, because do we want to hit the lawsuit stuff first, or do we want to hit that other let's hit the other thing
Let's
first.
hit the other thing first,
and then we'll jump into the lawsuits.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Which is a lawsuit that we're going to hit first.
Oh man, well now I don't know which thing we're hitting first. we had 2 topics. One of them was a lawsuit with a former realtor president of ours.
Yeah.
And the other one was the other thing.
Yeah, that's at the real estate.
You go
one.
for it.
That's at the one with the real estate agent involved.
Yes. All right. Sure.
Yeah. So Donald Trump, if you guys haven't heard,
he used to be a former president. If you didn't know.
Yeah, and he did this thing in real estate before that, like years, if
you had no idea who he was.
He was a realtor. He did this thing. So recently he was hit with a $354.9 million penalty, and a 3-year ban in New York, for supposedly, and again, fraudulently. Here's the crazy part about the whole thing. So you
can't even make it through the introduction before we get off.
I can't. So
this is crazy, guys.
No
matter what side you're on, think about.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with politics.
Nothing. This is real estate.
Zero to do with politics. This has everything to do with real estate.
Yes.
And I want you guys to clearly understand this is real estate related, not political, right? So Trump has to pay $354.9 million in penalties for fraudulently overstating his net worth to dupe lenders, and a New York judge ruled on Friday, handing the former U.S. president another legal setback. So the decision issued after they had a 3-month trial in Manhattan. It also banned Trump, who is running. So he was he can't serve as an officer and a director in any New York corporation for the next 3 years, which is where all of his stuff is headquartered.
Oh yeah,
right.
So does he have to exit Trump Tower and all that stuff?
He can stay there. He just can't conduct any business from there.
Yeah,
which may as well leave.
Everything, right? Everything he does is business.
Yeah, so he's gonna have to leave there, right? The crazy part was that it says he's incapable of admitting his errors and his ways.
I can see that.
The law, yeah, right. The lawsuit brought by New York Attorney General accused Trump and his family business of overstating his net worth by as much as $3.6 billion a year over a decade to foot bankers into giving him better loan terms.
Okay.
The crazy part about all this is, so let's say he did do this.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say that him and Don Jr. and Eric, they were also defendants in the case as well. They had to pay $4 million a piece.
Yeah.
On top of the $354 million, they had to So that's another 8 million. So all this, right?
Yeah.
To get loans and better terms. Now, the crazy part about all this is all the loans have been completely paid back.
Okay.
And so there was never, so let's say he did overinflate what he was worth
Yeah.
to get a better loan.
Okay.
He paid it all back.
Which is illegal.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is illegal.
Like we know not to do that.
Right. We know not to do that.
Yeah.
It is illegal.
Yeah.
But he also paid it all back.
Yeah, but still, I get it. Yeah.
So it is illegal. What he did was illegal, but he paid it all back.
Yeah.
So the question that comes into this lawsuit, and this is the most intriguing thing of this whole lawsuit,
Right.
is this. So $354 million, what he's paying.
Yep.
Don Jr. and Eric have each had to pay 4, so that's another 8.
Yeah.
So you're at what, 360 somewhere? There's $365 million. They have to pay.
Yeah.
But there's no one to pay damages to.
Right.
There was no damages.
Right.
So my question was like, where does $360 million go?
So I can answer that question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can it come to Free for All Friday? That's my question.
This is speculation, but did you hear that New York is now giving Visa cards out?
Yeah. I have heard that.
You know about that? I'm
Yeah.
not, again, now that does go slightly into political, so I'm not going to talk about that too much. But New York is now handing out Visa cards. I'm assuming that's where the funding is coming from.
But that's not even, that wouldn't even touch what they're trying, what you're talking about.
It wouldn't. No, it's less than that. Yeah. So
I mean, that would, the $360 million wouldn't even come close to covering that.
Yeah. How about that? That's
So the crazy part is, like, and I get it, like, what overinflating your values and all that. Again, we worked in the mortgage.
the only thing I
things,
can think
like,
of is the game Monopoly, Jimmy. And
Yeah,
when you
for
land
sure.
on that one space, it doesn't necessarily go to, if you're playing by the real house rules, guys, you know the rule, right?
It goes to the bank.
It goes to the bank right in the middle, and then somebody hits free parking, right?
Yeah, and somebody, it's all of it.
That's all right. That's how that's the only thing I can think of in my head is this is what's going on with that money. It's going into the free
So
money.
so the question that I kind of have with this,
How do you
is,
land-
how do I
how do you
land on
land
free
in-
parking?
Yeah, free parking. Yeah.
How do I land on free
Yeah.
parking?
I don't know if you want to do what it would take to land on free parking.
I mean, there's $360 million sitting
Listen,
there somewhere.
I'll tell you how to land on free parking, but we're gonna do it in the afterburner.
Yeah, so I mean, like, and again, taking the political side out of this is crazy on the real estate side and the
So
mortgage
it's like-
loan side, like, right? Like,
Yeah.
this is, if you think about the mortgage loan side.
How often do you think that happens where people in order? Okay, so
Well,
let's
I mean,
start.
we hear about it a lot. Like,
Yeah?
well, locally, I mean, like, think about it. Detroit used to be the Motor City.
Yeah.
Now it's Mortgage City, right?
Okay.
Because you've got the two biggest
Yeah.
dogs in the mortgage industry right here.
Yeah.
They're 30 minutes apart. You got Quicken
Yeah.
and UWM, Rocket and UWM, who don't like each other.
They don't like each
Their
other.
CEOs hate each other.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it.
Oh, you didn't know? He didn't.
I didn't know that.
Oh,
No.
yeah. Ishbia and Gilbert do not like each other.
No.
That was so Ishbia, if you've heard Ishbia on stage before, he admittedly said, like, the reason he gets in at 4:30 in the morning or whatever time, godly time he gets in the office in the morning, it's because he knew what time Dan got in, so he was getting in 3 hours before Dan because he wanted to catch him,
Yeah.
and he did.
Well, that doesn't mean that you hate somebody.
No, they do. They don't like each other.
All right. Well, there you
Yeah,
go.
they don't like each other. Like, so Dan bought the Cleveland Cavaliers. Matt bought the Phoenix Suns. Like, they both went to Michigan State, and so they do. There's also this thing back and forth with the donations to Michigan State. Like, there's the Gilbert building or whatever. Then there's Ishbia building, and now they're all there. But like the one Michigan State's like making out in this whole deal. It's great for Michigan State.
Yeah.
They just keep getting they keep out donating each other.
Yeah. And now where does all that money go?
New buildings, new things, new whatever. But
Wow.
yeah.
So you think that happens a lot though in this industry? I mean, do you think that people
not on this scale, I don't think. But
I know I would. It would be hard. Yeah.
Oh, and I did happen to watch what on my flight home. I did watch The Big Short.
Yeah. Okay.
Which have you seen The Big Short?
Yeah, I've seen both versions of it. I've seen the 1980s version. It was actually titled Twins back then. That was with Arnold Schwarzenegger and
No, seriously though, The Big Short's really good. It's about the the mortgage industry in 06.
I thought that was somebody out there had to have smiled at that.
Yeah, no, it was about
He's
the
like,
mortgage
no, I'm
industry.
talking about this.
Yeah, it was about the mortgage industry in 06.
I haven't been able to pay attention to a minute of the show, Jimmy. That light is still blinking over there. I have no idea what.
So is that one.
Well, yeah, but you can handle that, man.
Well, I focused on other things.
I know.
I got other things moving over here.
But yes, it's interesting. I wonder. So because you have to prove what the amount of money that you've made. Like you have to send stuff in.
So you do, but here's what's so this is what was funny about watching the movie The Big Short. And if you haven't seen the movie The Big Short, you should watch it. It's super interesting about the mortgage industry.
Before you go there, I just want to point this out. Tom is 100% correct. He got my joke. I just thank you, Tom. That's the one that I was looking for.
And the movie you're talking about was Twins. It wasn't had anything to do with Short at all.
You didn't get it. He didn't get it.
I did get it.
What? Yes.
Yeah, I totally got it.
Okay.
But I just ran past it.
Because one guy was big.
Yeah, one guy was Arnold Schwarzenegger, the other guy was Danny DeVito.
The Big Short.
Twins.
Yes. Never mind.
Yeah. No.
Anyway.
But yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's really good. But
Twins?
so they did change a lot of the legalities of mortgages for the better.
Yeah.
Problem is, I'm kind of slipping back down that road again.
You think? Like what?
Bank statement loans. I mean, and again, I don't want to freak everybody out and be like,
I'm not posting that one on.
Uh-oh.
We're getting comments that I'm not going to publicly show.
I can go check them out. But yeah, so we're not going down that road. So 06, 07, guys, well, if you don't understand the mortgage back then, it was like, hold on. Okay, where do you want your $150,000? Right? Like you just had a pulse. Like you didn't check anything.
Right.
Nothing got checked. Like
Like
if you were a waiter, for instance, right?
Yep.
And you applied for a mortgage. And you got the mortgage and they said, well, how much do you make a year? Well, I make $150,000 a year. Okay, good. Sign here. Here's your $500,000 loan. That was it. There was no check. They just took it on your word.
Yeah.
So in the movie, they even talked about how the bankers, it was in Florida, a bunch of these bankers in Florida were going to strip clubs. And all the strippers, one had like 15 mortgages. And they just kept giving her, like letting her get mortgages, and she had like 15 different houses.
Yeah,
and just kept buying more houses, and they kept approving her mortgages.
Yeah, and
I'm like, well, she can't pay any of it. She didn't pay any of it off, but she got all the money.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what was happening. So that's where I think it's gotten better since then, because now you have to have employment verifications and all the things that go.
So basically, this is when he says that he took advantage of the situation where it was at. This is what he's kind of talking about.
Yes,
I got you.
Yeah, and so I think that's where the Trump case gets interesting, because he said they say he overinflated what his net worth was.
Yeah,
I don't know how you do that. Like, you have to have a lot of money to, first of all, have a net worth, right? Like, my net worth is not. You know what I mean? Like,
you're not going to be able to overinflate that, Jimmy.
Yeah, I mean, if I overinflate it, it's whatever. But so, like, overinflating it, like, I get it, like, you shouldn't do that, but I don't even know how one does overinflate it, like, because I feel like you have to open all your books and do all the things.
And like you said, that if the whole thing was based on, well, yeah, it's one of those things that they say, and again, I'm not trying to stick up for one person or the other. It's one of those victimless crimes that you hear about.
That's exactly what it was.
But like you said, if he's already paid back all the money, who's owed or due anything?
Right. And it kind of goes back to, like, all right, so there's victimless crime, and people are like, well, there's no such thing. There is, right? Like, if I'm speeding in the middle of the night and I'm going 100 miles an hour down 696,
which you do.
I do.
Yeah.
But there's no police out there.
Not a single person.
There, no harm, no foul, right?
Well, but you still did it.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, you decide to run for city council, and
some guy had a stopwatch out there.
Right. Said you You've overinflated the speed limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even in this case where this gets even more interesting
is they told him that he can't do work out of there.
Well, but he also paid it all back.
Yeah.
He didn't take the money and not pay it back.
Right.
But
he would have technically owed more money though, right? Because he did it
that's
to get a
where
better
it gets
interest
confusing.
rate.
He got a better interest rate, but he also took more money. He got more money because he overinflated what his net worth was. So he got more money at a better rate.
Right.
But he paid it all back.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, I don't know. That's where that's where it gets confusing to me because like and I get it. Like you can't overinflate your stuff and it's mortgage fraud is bad, everybody.
Awesome. This is what we want. Hey, 100% judgment free zone. Welcome to Safe Spaces today on Free for All Friday. Feel free to call in 313-644-4ALL. You can also hit star and say hello. Jimmy manning the board over there. This is a comment we got in from Tim, who says he overinflated to get favorable mortgages. When you're above a certain level of income, nobody knows what it means. The other side is he lowered the value for his lower tax payments. New York citizens got screwed.
Okay. So if that's the case, then
it should go back to New York citizens.
Right.
Yeah.
But right now it's a victimless crime and nobody knows where the money went.
Nobody knows where the money he paid back went.
I mean, it's going to. He's got to pay. He's got to basically pay the court.
Yeah.
Now I don't know where it goes once it hits the court because the court doesn't make money.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Right. So yeah. So like I don't know. Like that's where I don't know. That's where this gets weird because So all right, and from what Tim said, the taxpayers of New York got screwed.
Yeah.
Okay. So I get that part. So to your point,
they should put that in a giant fund, like I get my email, right? Like if you owned a Verizon phone
the problem
between
is,
2014 and 2016.
So if I did the New York taxpayers get screwed by $360 million, and New York is in such debt that $360 million wouldn't even dent what they're doing, what they do. So it's like saying I owe $100. Well, here's a dime.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, well, that doesn't help me make $100. You gave me a dime.
It did for that starfish, Jimmy.
Right. Like that's the whole thing, right? Like I don't know. That's that. And again, politics out of it. Like I think it's just crazy because my question is, where does the money go?
Yeah. Well, I have the same question every time I pass the billboard here in Michigan. There's a billboard up that says $1.8 billion went to the school systems from the Michigan lottery. That's the same question I have. I'm like, wait a minute. Where is it going? My kid's teacher the other day was begging parents to help her bring wet wipes into the classroom because they can't afford them. And they ran out already because, kids are gross.
Right.
So
kids are disgusting.
Yeah. So you need to wet wipe the whole place down. I'm like, where's that 1.6 billion going? Right.
Right.
Or the money for the roads. Some of the other states that are listening to us, you don't have those issues. But here in Michigan, we have some of those funny issues.
All right. I'm just looking this up real quick for just laughs.
For laughs, for grins and giggles?
Yes.
All right, let's grin under a giggle.
Population of New York, the city of New York.
Yeah.
8 million people.
With an M.
8 million, yes. Over 8. It's 8.8 million people.
Okay.
In the city of New York.
Okay.
So
are you gonna take the 312 million and divide it?
Yeah, I mean that's no 360 million.
Math live on the show, ladies.
Yeah, live on the show.
We're gonna do just a little bit of math here for you. Yeah, I wish I had this every time I was doing math. It's a math song. Getting long, it's the math song. Wow, dude, you are taking a really long time to calculate this.
I had it.
What do you have, an AT&T phone? Oh, that was the thing we were going to talk about.
Yeah.
Now I remember. We should write this stuff down. It's coming. He's
I don't know
pressing the
why I'm
buttons.
running out of.
Jimmy constantly defends the iPhone. Can't even use the
No, I'm running out
calculator.
of zeros. Oh, that's why. I had too many.
Too many. Okay, good. He's calculating out the payments. Pressing the buttons. There's the 00. There's the comma.
It's basically like $45 a person.
Perfect. There it is, guys. Congratulations.
I think New York's got bigger problems.
Oh, wrong thing. Whoop.
that
That works, I guess.
Yeah. So if Donald Trump just walked around and handed everybody in the city of New York $50,
which he does,
right?
That's the thing. That's the thing that they forget. When you pull,
Except
well, not only that,
except for all the new residents who aren't counted.
Well, here's okay, guys. So now let's tie this back in. You have these huge heads of real estate. Grant Cardone came out yesterday, I believe, and said he wants to pull all of his business out of New York.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Leary has lots of businesses in real estate there, and he wants to pull out. And again, I think that it's not necessarily because of what's happening, but it's the extra stuff. Like you said, if you're speeding down the road, they capture you, victimless crime, but you got caught on a webcam light or one of the cam lights, right? You're still going to get your ticket, okay? Jelly, by the way, did the math for you since you completely screwed it up. And he said it's $4.56.
Oh, maybe it's even worse than I thought.
So there you go. You can't even buy
you can't buy a cup of in New York. You can't buy anything,
right? Yeah, for $4.56.
Oh, the funny thing is, I was gonna say Five Below, but I don't think they have Five Belows in New York.
No,
but they
have 10 above.
I was just on vacation in the Dominican Republic. They have a 4 Below.
Oh, of course they do. Yeah. So you'd be able to shop there if you
if you lived in New York, you could go to the Dominican and shop at 4 Below.
But the thing is if you were to do that and speed through that light, right? Well, I guess I don't know, man. It kind of makes. I was gonna say if you did that, it's like them saying, "All right, you're never going to be allowed to drive in the state of Michigan again,
right?
Or do any business. Like it's just that extra stuff. But they do stuff like that. If you're going insanely fast and they catch you and to where you're at criminal speeds, they will take your license away. So I mean
that's what we talk about too, right? The other thing is if you think about what like the impact think about the impact of moving that business out of New York.
Well, yeah, but
but I mean he can't move Trump Towers,
right?
You know what I mean?
I mean he probably could.
He could.
Yeah.
But the building would just be empty, and then everybody that works in that building would be unemployed. So what would be more detrimental?
Yep.
And I mean, it's very, very simple. Elon Musk moved Tesla out of California.
Yeah.
For the taxes and for like this kind of stuff.
So this is interesting for those of you that had a chance to see Grant. I know if you're an EXP agent, I know he's been at EXP events and he had talked about Cardone Capital. Grant announced on X to him that he was going to be and his team is immediately ceasing all investments into New York City real estate, declaring that this is all political, right? And it's going to lead to price deterioration. This is what he put. He put immediately discontinue all underwriting on New York City real estate. The risks outweigh the opportunities at this time. Recent political decisions will continue to deteriorate the price and benefit the states that don't have these challenges. Focus on Texas and Florida. That's interesting.
So it's interesting, right? Because and then the other thing about like Texas is the cost of living is so much cheaper than California and New York.
Yeah.
The real estate is half, probably even less than half of New York and California both.
Right.
So that I mean I don't know what's that going to do to Texas, right? Like so it's crazy.
I mean, there's already a real big flood. Like so, following the comedy scene like I do, it's interesting because there is such a big flow into Texas right now.
Yeah.
From all of these other states, from New York, especially California, there's so many people that are moving into there just because but it's I don't know how else to put it. There's more freedom to do the types of things that they want to do, which is crazy because they're the ones that always supported what they were supporting everywhere else, and then it
Yeah.
came back. And again, not to make this political, but there's a lot of people, if you're in the Texas area, or if not, and you happen to be at one of those brokerages where you can sell real estate because you have a statewide broker or an international broker, or national broker, I should say, you should definitely take advantage of that. There's a lot of people looking at Florida. Florida's hot right now too.
Well, and, I got a friend that has, he lives in Florida, and has a part of a team here in Florida, and the reason he did that was because of the flow from Michigan to Florida.
Yeah,
and
75.
He's been putting out these stats, like, of the people moving from
gotcha.
Michigan to Florida.
Yeah.
Like, it's and what the other thing that helped change all this was COVID.
Yep.
Because everybody started working from home.
Yep.
Then the big companies started saying, well, why do we need this big building if everybody can work from home when we're still doing the same thing we were doing anyway?
Right.
Like, why pay for the building? Right. So that's where I thought commercial real estate would get weird. I guess it hasn't, but I thought it would get weird. But
I have an interesting prediction, and this is just my opinion, right? But I think what's going to end up happening with commercial, because we're starting to see this. You have these giant places and malls are shutting down.
Yeah.
But if you look at the amount of space that mall has, for instance, easily you could convert that into apartment buildings.
Yes.
And now all of a sudden we have real estate and the infrastructure and all that stuff back again, and we can balance stuff out by taking some of these commercial places and turning them into residential zones.
Yeah, it's a good point. And I think Saeed, when we had Saeed on 3 years ago, probably now, one of the things that he had talked about too was like these like shared spaces almost, right? Like, where it's residential, commercial, kind of all
baked into one. Well,
right?
Look at the line.
Yeah.
If you guys have not seen the line, this is the scariest, coolest, and craziest thing I've ever witnessed in my life, because it's all the sci-fi movies actually coming to life.
Yes.
You have districts. You have this one line where, like, you walk upstairs and that's where you live, and then you walk down the stairway and that's where you work, and you walk down the stairway even more and that's where you eat and buy your groceries, and everything is enclosed inside of these two giant mere walls, so that nature doesn't know that you're there.
In the middle of the desert.
In the middle of the desert. And it's huge, and it's a huge project. It's $1 trillion project. Is that right?
Yes, more than that, I think.
If you have not seen this or looked this up, Google the line, and watch the video. It's not fiction. They're building it. It's being built right now.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Yeah, and there's the video, the AI like walkthroughs and the videos and all the things. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, if you haven't seen the line, check that out.
So anyway, lawsuits. Getting back to lawsuits, some other stuff that you looked up this morning is
this is
listen. Hang on one second. I love this comment. This is from your mom.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, your mom says, "Good morning, guys. I'm late again, but if you could start your show at 9, I'd be on time." I would love to do that. It would be great. I don't think it would work.
Yeah.
There's too many agents. We don't want to give them more of an excuse not to be doing what they need to be doing.
Correct.
The first thing in the morning.
Correct.
We already go about 30 minutes too late.
This is supposed to get you up and moving.
Yeah, or at least thinking about your day.
At least something.
I don't know what we're doing. We're math songs but yeah, so the lawsuits. So going back to another lawsuit, Jimmy looked this up. We were talking about this morning. If you guys didn't know this will blow your mind. Go ahead, Jimmy. Tell them about how long this has been actually going on.
Yeah, and we thought we were like front runners in this thing.
We thought we were like on top of it, guys.
Yeah, we thought we were cutting edge. And you guys know Johnny and I have been talking about this for a couple of years as far as the DOJ versus.
It's one of our first 10 episodes we were talking about this.
Yeah, the Department of Justice versus NAR and all the things. And at the time, the only thing we were talking about was the love letters.
Yep.
And we talked about pocket listings.
And the buyers needing to pay commission at the time too. There was a little hint of it.
That had just kind of that wasn't even in our mind, it wasn't even a real thing.
Right.
Like the crazy thing is now it's become a real thing. And everybody's panicked about this. But guys, listen to this. I didn't have any idea this happened. So this DOJ NAR thing, the litigation began in the 1940s.
1940. That's a long. Pull your calculator out. Where's
I'm not.
Where's Jelly?
Jelly, do the
Jelly,
math. I don't
Jelly.
know,
How long ago was
1940.
that? 1940.
Yeah, my mom was born in the 40s.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know. So
just referencing 40.
yeah. So the litigation began in the 1940s against the industry adoption of standard rates of commissions.
Which is so. Here's what I said to Jimmy instantly, and think about this. They might have a point. He did it too. Thank you. That's 84 years ago.
Damn.
84 years ago.
My mom's gonna yell at me because she's not that old.
Because you just told everybody that your mom was 84. Jimmy, tisk tisk, and she just woke up to watch you too.
I know.
And there she is.
Uh-oh.
She says, "Thanks, Jimmy. That's 80 years ago. I'm only 78 though." There you go.
See?
Yep. But when you told me that, I said, "What are they talking about? The people have paid the same forever. It's always been 6%,
Yeah,
give or take. Check with your broker. We're not blah blah blah
Yeah.
blah, or we're trying to." But duh,
standard
that's
rates of
exactly what they're
commissions.
saying.
Yeah,
Since the 40s.
yeah, standard rates of commissions with a notable U.S. Supreme Court decision in 1950.
Yeah.
Like think like 40s and 50s, they were arguing about.
Which is crazy. They had other things going on at that time.
Well, we've had things going on this whole time. And then it goes into a massive 1983 report by the Federal Trade Commission that explained and documented how the industry uses informal collusion and coupled rates to set these rates.
See, that's crazy.
But it's true.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess. But how do you fix that in today's day and age? Because everybody just assumes and look.
You know what assuming does?
Yeah, I do. Sometimes people are wrong.
Well, it makes an ass out of you and me.
Okay, or you could go that route, Jimmy, if you wanted to.
I just like to say where.
But what's interesting is like there's the couple things that are really interesting about that is like I said, everybody like how would you fix this? How would you fix this, Jimmy?
Well, I think that's what's coming down the pipe. I think what's coming down the pipe is it's going to be...
The government's going to come in and say, we have to be the ones that fix this by setting more laws.
Well, I think it's going to be 3 and 3. I think that's where the definitive line is going to come in.
But right. So it's almost where it's always been in the first place.
It is, but that's where the collusion came in when we just said it was always 6.
But we never really said that. We've said, about 6.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's at least that's how I was always talk about it. Because we can't say 6 outright.
You know, there's agents out there that go for 7 right away.
Yeah, of course. So my question is this: do you think that they're going to set not 3 and 3 be the standard, but they're just going to come out and say, okay, listen, from this point on, it's 3 and 3? Like,
I hope that I think they're going to have to do that.
That's the only way they're going to be able to reset this whole thing.
I think so,
but that's not a reset. So for some people,
but I think that's the only way the consumer is going to get it.
Because in other words, they'll never figure it out.
Well, I think then the consumer is always going to say, well, the last guy did it for 2. Could you do it for 2?
Well, so
you know
that,
I mean?
so here's the deal with that, right? You just hit on, for the majority of real estate agents, somebody mandating that they have to take 3% is going to be in their best interest.
Yes, 100%.
For almost all of you listening,
yes.
Which sucks. Because for the people like Austin, and I always charged more, right? For the people that are okay charging 7, having a sliding scale from 7 to 10, like all of a sudden it's going to go down for them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Their average commission rate's going down.
So, yeah, I don't know if it's the average, right? I mean, you always had to battle to get to the higher one, right?
Well,
it was just known,
right?
But maybe you could always go more. Maybe the standard is 3, and then you could go. You know what I mean?
Like, but it already is.
But it's not definitive.
You can't go underneath it because nobody. 3. So so essentially, okay. So let me see if I can.
So it just kind of came up in a chat last night that we were having.
Yeah,
an agent here locally, we'll remain nameless on this show.
All right.
But was advertising list your house with me for 1%.
Okay. Yes.
I don't know what the purpose of that is. Like if I did a listing for 1%.
Yeah.
I am not making any money.
You're making 1%,
but I'm not. But no buyer's agent's gonna bring that buyer to me. He's saying 1% total.
What?
Yes.
So 0.5 and 0.5?
No, he's taking 1 and then You're on your own. So this is where my concern is.
What?
This is where my concern is if we don't put like a standard base on this,
Yeah.
that we run into this, well, you're on your own to fight for it, like type deal.
But so the problem with that, though, is that agent wasn't doing their fiduciary duty because they have to know by not offering any commission to the other side to actually, by the way, sell the house. That's the selling agent. Nobody's going to see the home.
And it's, you know, what's funny is agents get confused when you look at like your contract.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there is no buyer's agent.
Right.
There's a listing agent and a selling agent.
Yes. At least here in Michigan.
Yeah. And a lot of agents are like, well, that's confusing. There's no buyer agent.
Right.
I'm like, no, because you're the selling agent.
Right. You're the one
I'm
that
the
actually
listing
sold the
agent.
house.
You're the one that actually sold the house, not me.
Right.
I'm the marketer.
Correct.
I market the house. You sell it.
Right.
So that it's funny because people get, a lot of agents get so confused by that.
Yep.
And they're like, well, where's the buyer agency thing? I'm like, well, there we do have buyer agency contracts.
Yep.
Which they should be seller agency, right? There should be a listing contract and a seller's contract, which is a buyer's agency. So we confuse our agents too, like here in Michigan. Again. But so that's where my concern is. If they don't put any standard or regulation on this, that it's 0 and 0 until you get whatever you get.
Yeah. Yeah, which would be worse than just saying.
Which would be worse than saying you can't go below 3.
Interesting.
Because then I think especially from a consumer standpoint, because the consumer is always going to like, so it's
like here in Michigan we have 6% tax. Once they've said that that's what it was, that's what everybody pays.
Yeah,
you pay 6% tax.
Yeah, and so then this goes on. There was a 2006 congressional hearing at which the DOJ, the FTC, Redfin, and CFA criticized industry price fixing. So they keep going back to this price fixing, this collusion, because it's always been just one commission base.
So,
right?
But then,
there's 6.
So let me get this straight. So so the solution then, if I were to just simplify this in my mind, which is confused myself on this, the solution to making sure that we don't fix the price anymore is to fix the price.
Yes. Yeah, I think
which fixes the price.
Yeah, because I don't think there's been, because it's always been one commission, and then it was always just like, for us, it's always just been known it's 6%, but the seller gets 3, the buyer gets 3. Like that's just how it works. Like, everybody's like, and I think for the most part, this is where it gets crazy, right? This is where it gets crazy to me. When you get the government involved, sorry, government, don't shut us down. But when you get them involved, that's where the water gets muddy.
Yeah.
It's like, no, like, stop. And then you do have the agent out there that goes, "I'll just do it for 1%. Like, you're ruining everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We were all having fun. You were doing 3. I was getting 3. Everything was great. Now Joe Schmo comes along and wants to do 1% because he can't list anything.
Yeah.
Right. He can't convert on the phone. So his only way of getting clients is going, I'll just do it for 1. You know what I mean? Like, that's the part that kind of ruins everything. It's like, you just ruined our fun. We were having fun. We were all in the.
How do you really feel about it, Jimmy?
We were having a great time. Yeah. Now you just came along and ruined it.
Yeah.
You know, you flattened our ball, and now we can't play.
This runs up with a knife.
Yeah. He just broke my bat and walked away.
That's so funny. But did he though? Because think about this. I'm going to play devil's advocate on this. Number one, if you don't, did he really do that though, Jimmy? Because you don't want that client in the first place. I'm telling you right now, you don't want that guy. All right. Number 2, he's not going to sell it. So if you really did want that client, that dude's going to be expired.
Wait till it expires.
Yeah. And then recall him, right?
Yeah.
Or wait till he expires, then list his home himself, and then expires then, and then do it, right? So you'll still get that guy back if you really want him, right? Because like I said, at the end of the day, that's just such a disservice to your seller. And it's not, if the purpose behind that is, it's all going to be, I'm just going to get a ton of listings. So I'm doing the wholesale deal, right? Well, you've now just made it all about you.
Yeah.
And the fiduciary duty, and again, something I've always taken real serious, we're supposed to do our best for our client. And if that means charging so that there's something on the other side of it, man, I do want to hit this because I thought this was a really good idea. Tom had chimed back in. We were talking about your mom not being able to watch the show until 9 o'clock. Tom has said that if you move your mom to Europe, she could actually then watch the show in the afternoon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We had the fireside chat with Glenn Sanford last night, and he was in South Africa.
Okay.
And it was 5 o'clock here. But
In the morning?
It was midnight there. No, it's 5 o'clock p.m. here.
Oh,
I
got
It
you.
was midnight there. So yeah, we can move her to South Africa. There's
There you
EXP
go.
in South Africa.
There you go. And hey, you'll get a sale out of it.
That's it.
That's all you got to do.
Referral at least.
Yeah, you can sell it for 1%.
Yeah. But no, like I think it's crazy. Like without the standard and regulation, I think there could be an issue.
Right. Well, there is, right? Again, the consumer, I don't know, man. I think everything is right now, everything is moving so fast. It's funny because I'm a fast moving dude. Like I'm into technology. Like I love all that stuff. Your mom also says she loves the idea about moving to South Africa. So
warmer.
Just want to, it's warmer there. It's nice to know. Let's see. Jelly has a comment on this. He says, maybe it will just be the amount of the commission amount. Remove the percentage. 300,000 equals 9. No fixed at a percentage sign and just an amount.
Oof.
Well, how would you your mom's chatting back and forth. You can't see her comments on the screen.
I'm not watching her.
Oh, she says Johnny's 100% right. But yeah, again, but where does that 9,000, like, how did you come to that? Well, it's a percentage. You know what I mean? So everything does kind of come back down to percentages again.
Yeah, I was trying to find this other one because they did have a statement in here. Yeah, so some of the details said it's critically important that buyers negotiate buyer agent commissions before their agents search for properties. Otherwise, buyers agents could steer buyers to properties with the highest dollar concessions and potential against compensation. So it goes back to that same thing. Like it goes back to if they're not offering me anything, I'm not taking my buyer to that house.
Interesting. Very interesting. But then that goes back to if you're a buyer's agent and you owe that percentage. So it goes back to the buyer protection on the 3-page agreement. Okay, that's great. I'll sell you the 1% house, but then you're going to be responsible for the other 3%. Right. Man, I'll tell you what.
But you got to get that up front.
Real estate is an ever-changing environment. It's going faster and faster. The stuff is getting crazier and crazier. Stay tuned here on Free for All Friday. Every Friday as we bring the news to you and guests. If you'd like to be a guest, by the way, we have 3 open dates coming up for open calls. So if you are a listener and you have been looking for your chance, we have 3 dates to fill. You can go to guests@freeforallfriday.com. Send us an email with your details, and we will get you scheduled in. Jimmy, you've been fantastic.
Johnny, you've been awesome.
And for everybody else, we'll talk to you next Friday. All right, let me turn our thing off here. And what was it? We didn't even get a chance to talk about the AT&T thing. Did you guys get affected by AT&T the other day? Anybody use that to their advantage?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I couldn't get back to you. I have AT&T.
Yeah. I'm sorry it took me so long to get back to you. I was on AT&T. I don't know if you've heard, but AT&T. That was a fun time. I think. I don't know, Carlos. Are you watching right now? I don't know if Carlos is watching or anybody on his team is watching, but he was the first person to notice it. And I think I saw him out front at. That's an interesting. Rob Jacobs came in with a comment on the whole thing, and that's very interesting. He said banks need to start financing commissions for buyers. Yeah, that's an interesting way to go about it, isn't it?
Yeah,
because then it all goes on the. Well, see, then it goes, but I don't know. I just feel like there's so much power that's going to be given up, right?
Right.
And
listen to this. So this is the part I was trying to find.
All right, we found it.
So this says the DOJ opinion virtually guarantees that buyers will eventually be able to negotiate buyer agent commissions that are currently fixed through the industry collusion. So we gotta keep using that, dropping this word. But then it says it is also likely that there will be a greater variation of agent compensation depending on factors such as agent experience and time spent on sale. Meaning, like,
What?
if I take you out and show you one
Oh
house,
my
you buy it,
gosh.
it's done, it changes my compensation.
Dude, they are gonna overcomplicate this
So
to the-
bad.
so bad
So bad.
that it's gonna remember when you're talking about the dude popping the balloon?
This is the guy.
And then the government comes along and says you're not even allowed in the sandbox. They may go play in that dirt pile.
Yeah.
And then they
That
kick
has
you out.
toxic waste in it.
Right.
Batteries from
Then
cars.
they throw you over there. Oh, you're right, dude. Rob is right. Rob says one thing that's guaranteed is once the government gets involved, it's going to be a mess. That's exactly what,
Yeah.
There's nothing more complicated and longer lasting than a temporary government division that opens up.
Right.
Because like you said, now we have to carry time cards around with us. We're freaking real estate agents. We're not even like correctly doing our taxes.
Right.
We're just I guess I'd probably drive
in the
about
dark. Yeah.
I probably drive about 15,000 miles a year for my business. I don't know. I've never kept one of those books ever. Right?
Yeah, like it's gonna be weird. Like, if again, like how much so here's a question.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'll answer it.
If I spend more time,
Yeah.
do I charge, like, can I go past the 3%?
No, because now it's fixed.
But no, they're saying you negotiate.
Yeah, there's no overtime. But see, well, that's
But
where
so like I just had a client yesterday. We passed inspection yesterday.
yeah.
That was our third inspection.
Third inspection.
The first two were terrible, so we
Yeah.
backed out of the deal.
Those are just write-offs.
The third, but now, like, I've spent
Yeah.
a lot of time with these folks. Like,
I think you're overinflating the amount of time that you spent.
yeah,
See, that's going to be the part there too. Is
this will drive Austin crazy.
Well, yeah, like,
But he knows what his hourly rate is.
Oh man, can you imagine?
Think about if I just charge you an hourly rate.
Right.
What's your hourly rate worth?
Right.
Mine's $500.
Well, not anymore because we've mandated it has to be an average of 3% of your blah 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 blah. Okay.
Right.
Like,
that's what's great. Like, I don't even know. And
well, see, the other thing is that seems like it's counter, not counterintuitive, but like on opposite ends there, because what you said was that they want to stop the 6%, but then at the same point in time, buyers can negotiate with their. So how are you stopping it if you're allowing buyers now to negotiate?
right. And like, and I've talked about this before, and I've had agents ask me this, like, can you charge your buyer like a retainer? And you can.
Yeah, I did.
You totally can.
Yeah.
Are you good enough agent to do it?
Yeah.
Like,
well, you got to prove
like,
worth.
You got to prove worth, right? Like, all right, well, so all right, I'll use you as my buyer's agent.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's $1,000 up front.
Yeah.
And then
so what's going to happen when they do split the buyer's agency out, right? Because this is where this is going to go. So this is how the world seems to work. Everything is on this pendulum, but the pendulum never evens out at the bottom. It always swings to another extreme on the other end. So right now we're talking about an agent. Okay. We beeped that out there. So we're talking about an agent taking 1%, but what happens when buyers are negotiating their commission to work with them? And now all of a sudden, 5 years from now, you have the advertisement, work with me, buyer's agent, 1%.
yeah.
Right? Like,
which is sort of how this kind of started, I think.
Right, but in reverse, right?
Well, no, remember, agents always said, work with me on the buy side, it's free.
It's free, right? Which it never was, right? They just didn't understand how their own program worked.
Right. So that was always the advertisement. To work with me on the buy side, it's completely free.
What do you think is going to happen to like the advertisements of list with me and or buy for me and I'll list for free and all those programs that used to come out?
I don't know. That's going to be interesting too. Yeah, because we had it on the Breakfast Club call yesterday.
Yeah,
we had an interesting one come up. That so the client, our agent, the agent that was on the call, took a buyer to see this house.
Yeah,
they were getting ready to write up an offer, and the guy said they want a bigger EMD, and so she was like, "Well, all right," but she said she had a weird feeling about it.
Okay.
But she wrote up an offer and had the EMD, but the guy called her back and said, "Hey, we want a bigger EMD, and we want it to go to the seller's title company, right? And this, that, and the other." So she's like, "I just had a weird feeling about this, so I didn't do it. And I didn't increase my EMD, and I used my own title company because I like my title company. She goes, so I didn't want to do all the things that they were saying. She said, then she goes back and looks on the MLS, and the house was expired.
What?
She was like, well, this is weird. Like in the middle of,
yeah.
So she did her homework. And I super commended her for this. She did her homework, but she kind of went around and she found the homeowner. And called the homeowner directly.
Okay.
Said, I hate your house expired. We had written an offer on it, but we didn't hear anything back and blah, blah. And she's like, yeah. She's like, so there was another person at the showing, not the listing agent. There was another agent, and I'm using an air quote because she wasn't sure if he was an agent or not.
Okay.
There was another person at the house when she went to show it. Apparently, and I don't know how the guy was pulling this off, but apparently they were looking for bigger EMDs, and the reason it expired and never sold is because the guy was cashing the EMD checks and keeping the money. So, but I'm like, how was he even pulling that off? Like, was he using different? So I got to get back with her. She was digging into it more today and over the weekend, and I'm like, call your broker, call the MLS. You need to call those two like right away.
Yeah,
because the homeowner's like, yeah, my house didn't sell because the guy kept taking the EMD and then people would call the other listing agent and be like, hey, we want to do something with the house, and he was like, no, you backed out, and like they were just cashing checks, keeping the EMD. That's why they kept telling her they wanted a bigger EMD.
That's such a good idea, though. Low key.
But hey, if you don't get caught, you end up like Trump, and you can't do business in Florida anymore.
Can't do business in Michigan. Yeah, but that's kind of like that dude figured out how to take one listing and make a check out of it like every single time.
But I'm like, I was trying to figure out how to. I was even trying to figure out like, all right, how are they just making the EMD out to him personally? Like are they making the check out to him personally? Are they Venmoing
if they
it
did, come on, you gotta, Eric has solidified the fact that we can't do this like this again, Jimmy. What with how all this looks?
Why?
He says, did Free for All Friday change to Fireside Chats with Uncle Jimmy?
Ah, perfect.
It did not, but you are more than welcome to come in here, and I can help Jimmy start his own thing. It will be called Fireside Chats with Uncle Jimmy.
Ooh, I could drink coffee. Well, I could drink. Oh, I could drink whiskey.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's no way you're drinking coffee.
Yeah, I could do some scotch, smoke a pipe.
There you go.
You'd be in for that.
I'd come in. Yeah. I'd hang out. We could do a fireside chat.
Yeah.
We need we gotta do some work on this.
Here.
What's that? Oh my goodness. He's doing it. Took an entire, I don't know what he's doing. No, that's all right, buddy. That works. Anyway, hey, that's a great place to leave this. If again, see, that would have been that if you could just leave it on that, it would have been great. It actually makes it look we have a little bit of extra depth in here.
Well, you know what we have? We just mixed red and blue, Johnny. We got purple, buddy.
Okay, or I was gonna go with Superman, but yeah, the basic colors. We can go to that. Oh, guys, we'll talk.
How does it look right now with the little flash and the red and the blue?
Oh, by the way, you're more than welcome to do that. And if you want to be a guest, again, guys, you guys are hanging out. This is our open call dates. Well, we announced this when we started season 4. Are there for you to come in?
Yeah,
chat whatever, free for all Friday style. Chat with whatever you want. If we find an opportunity to coach you up or help you in a specific area that you need help in, you're more than welcome to do that. So. Yeah, if you wanted to do that,
we'll do a live coaching session right here in the morning.
Right here on the morning. So we have 3 dates that we're looking to fill that are open call dates. You can email guest at freeforallfriday.com with your information, and we'll get you in there.
Is it guest with an S at the end, or just
I think
guest?
I have both of them coming to my email address. Okay. So I believe it's guest.
Nothing clarifies that clarity.
Yeah, it's true. I believe it's guest, but one time I said guests, and sometimes it sounds like I'm saying guests when I'm saying guest. But the other email address to reach out to us, if you had a latent breaking story or something that comes up, the other email that you want, and this gets you right on the episode.